Good morning. Hello. Welcome back. I I was looking for something clever to show you, and it's hiding. I don't know. I don't know how books do this. I don't know how it is that books seem to take a life of their own, but they do. But now that I have you and we're back, just give me 1 second so I can fix this other um, screen and make everything magical. We had a very crazy, weird, scary weekend. Is she talking? Good God, the woman is just... There we go. All right. So if you are watching this on Facebook and you just scroll down, I like 3 minutes ago, I guess, I posted this meme, and it came up on my memory feed, and I couldn't resist because it's so perfect. It's so perfect for what I want to talk about today. So it's a picture of the cow jumping over the moon, and it says the cow that jumped over the moon fails to consider re-entry, and the cow looks very surprised. As well she might. So here's what happened on the weekend. We were told there was going to be a band of storms coming. And there's been a lot of unsettled weather, as you know, in the States and all over the place, really. And all of a sudden, what we got was terrifying. It had turned into something that nobody really had seen before or heard of. And it's a condition where you get a bunch of storm cells all lined up in a straight line, and they track for hundreds of miles, and they leave this path of destruction. It's totally different from a hurricane, totally different from a tornado, and it's kind of like if a hurricane and a tornado hooked up, it was awful. And Ottawa was really badly hit. There's still a lot of thousands of people without power. And back in 1998, we had an ice storm, and I rode through that thing for 6 weeks because where I was, accidentally hit some black ice, and as it recovered, it yoinked the hydro feed from the house. So this wasn't a storm-related thing now. It was another thing, and so it took 6 weeks to get the power back there. So I got to go around for longer than is even remotely interesting, being the pioneer wife, woman, person, consort. Um, when none of those things are ever on my on my list of gotta do. And for 6 weeks, while everybody else was wearing T-shirts that said "I survived the ice storm of '98," and I would pithily tell them what I thought about their fashion sense. And then there was another situation in 2008 where we had 2018, where a tornado touched down and kind of went skippily-doo, da-da, da-da, and it was previous to set people back for months. And as often happens, you see the best in people. The kindest things begin to happen in times of crisis, and you also see some people doing the most extraordinary things, and you think, what is wrong with you? And I'm always looking for a way to see the reality of life, and then use men's, essential flaws to give myself permission to laugh at the very small stuff, because I have this, I talk about my hair or the thing that says too low FPS. I don't like to dwell in I can't fix this. I don't like to dwell in all is lost. I don't like to dwell on pain. And the reason is that it's not helpful. It's not solving anything. I'm standing still. And there's got to be a plan B. And when I was thinking about the way we have entered Area 51. This is my 51st video. I'm very excited about this. It's turning into something, you know? It's turning into how I can, I think my screen just froze, so in case it did, I'm saying that I'm very excited about the fact that this is the 51st video, because this is turning into everything I'd hoped it would be, which is basically laying the foundation for every next thing that I want to do with all of you. So the fact that it seems to be working, and I'm getting lots and lots of great feedback from people who are taking the time to watch and say, was that on purpose? Probably not. And it's so exciting that it's evolving, because it's a brand new direction. It's there because we have to find another plan now. And all weekend I was thinking to myself, one of the benefits of this wreckage of a weekend is that it has reminded me about the fragility of our assumptions. How a friend of mine, John Milkey, he said, so since I was bored and had nothing to do, I decided, and I couldn't do my work, and I couldn't do this, and I couldn't do that, I decided I would vacuum. And apparently it goes a lot faster when you have hydro. So you picture this perfectly intelligent man plugging in the vacuum cleaner, knowing his house has no power, knowing he's decided he's going to vacuum because he has no power. So he'll do that instead because, you know, it's overdue. You wish there was video of his stage manager brain rolls its eyes and says, I don't even, where did people find them and why do I? So that is what I'm talking about, that is the byproduct of all these things going on, is that humanity, after it kind of runs out of being angry, because there's no point in being angry, it doesn't take you anywhere. Tell a story of a dumb thing you did and then share it so that everybody goes, oh God, I was about to do it. So we can lose the frustration and lose the fear and lose the, oh, how many more things, oh Lord, are being set to try me. And just, you know, what the hell is that? Just forget being frustrated and trying to control what is not controllable in the moment, and do something else. Try to go someplace creative in your head. And it's hard. It's hard when you're saying everything in the freezer is going to spoil. Why is it going to spoil? It's warmer in there. So maybe if you weren't opening it, it would stay cold longer on account of its, say, freezer. Yeah, see. Still not funny that people had just bought groceries, right? Still not funny that they'd said, oh, I can't believe it. I gassed up and I this and I that, and they spent all this money and now they're going to go, okay. Or if you have fuel in the car, why not put the groceries you can't use? Good morning, Steve. Why not put the groceries and take them to somebody who needs them? Good morning, Miss Melissa. Yes, it was John. I wanted to make some cookies, and it was like, oh yeah, no, all right, we can't, we can't have dinner, but maybe I'll make soup. Just so many automatic function things we do, right? And so this is my Melissa Pacey, who went through the storm, and Steve went through the storm, and we're talking about my good friend John Milky, who also did something incredible. I am just so in awe. It's one of those we are not worthy bowing in his general direction. John has a radio station, and he broadcasts through the magic of, I don't know, genies in bottles somewhere, and he has his studio in his house, and he does via satellite with all kinds of other radio stations, and he's just so creative and so clever about the way he's turning his multi-layered skill into something really viable, and I kudos completely. Anyway, one of the pictures he showed yesterday, his caption was "My studio for today," and he couldn't do anything in the house, so he took his laptop and his cell phone and his headphones and his microphone out to the car, and because he had a full tank of gas, and he ran his show from his car, because he could get everything hooked up there. Wouldn't have occurred to me. I would have just had no way to tell people that they weren't going to be listening to my show, and he sorted it out. This is where I'm going in this conversation today. That the opportunity to think of a plan B really is supposed to come before you need one, as opposed to after, right? It's supposed to be when, yeah, Steve, I better turn on a light, it's getting dark in here. Every time we are faced with the unexpected, usually we say to ourselves, I should have fixed the roof when it wasn't raining, and now it's raining and it's wet in here. Or, one of these days that tree's going to fall, I should have that thing cut down. Oh, look, I don't have to call the tree cutting service anymore. Thanks, Mother Nature. We can't reasonably predict everything. Past the place where we're panicking. And that 5 steps back I keep talking about? If we're there, if we can give ourselves whatever kind of hook it takes to yoink us out of the focus on, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, and slap the cave brain upside the head, because that's unhelpful. Freezing and hiding, fight or flight, isn't helpful when we have a real issue here. What it requires is a thinking brain, a strategic brain that can tell the doing brain what to do. And so the 5 steps back, something that triggers us, that makes us laugh, diffuses the panic. And the positive endorphin is huge, because it resets everything. And all of a sudden, it's not the end of the world. It's just a really ugly, messy world. And sooner or later, the rain will stop and the wind will stop, and then we'll be able to go out. But in the meantime, right, we make do. And where we forget to plan is where we think everything is perfect. What could possibly go wrong, we say. And I say that with a fair amount of certainty, because I actually have on Post-it notes beside my screen on the wall the things I'm not allowed to say. One is, what can possibly go wrong? And the other is, what's the worst that can happen? Because the universe says, want to find out? Oh boy, we're off on an adventure. And, you know, the other day I posted and I said, I get the feeling that when these things keep happening to me, it's the universe saying, I need more material. And if I'm going to keep doing these videos, okay, so universe, yeah, I have so much material, no matter how many videos I do. We're good. Thanks. Do you see what I just did there? Oh my God. See? I can manifesting all the positive good stuff. Not calling out to the watch this guys who orbit around somewhere. So this weekend, there were some deaths. There were some tragic accidents. There were very brave people. There were very patient people. There were people trapped who simply found a different way to get where they needed to go. Very proud of all the people I know and love and saw images from, because it shows survival mode kicking in. It shows thinking and planning kicking in. And one or two places, there was a wonderful sign I saw. There's a little table, a little card table, and a chair. And the sign said, power available, have a seat, recharge your phone. And the fellow had run an extension cord to his driveway. And he'd put out one of those, you know, those cables where you can plug a bunch of things in, and the power bar. Yeah. And people were pulling up, and it became like a community get-together, because people were just hanging out in the driveway until there was, you know, the green light flashes, and they said, oh, okay, I'm good, I'm done, see you, anybody need a coffee? And it became the way we used to live when we didn't have the resources at our fingertips. And in times like that, way back in the midst of time, when people had to get together and raise a barn together, or build a barn, or build a house, or clear a field together, because there was so much work, too much work for one family, and everyone knew that this time I'm giving, next time I'm getting, and that's the way this all works. Where I'm heading with Story Me TV, where I'm heading is to a vision of a production company that produces shows that are based on real life, people contributing their train wreck moments, their survival moments, their incredible never saw that coming moments, and we credit them, and we build our stories around them, around our collective story. That's what Story Me TV is meant to be. Part of the reason for beginning this way, as I've said in earlier videos, is to get my feet wet and to get people used to seeing me saying, hi, I'm back, I got an idea. So it's a regular check-in. Once I get good at this, and I figure out which other platforms are the right thing to do by asking people who actually know these things, then I can gradually start to expand. I've said before that I have 40 projects in development, wholly owned by me, and I have endless room for more, because we're not going to be producing big budget in the beginning. We're going to be producing in test mode inexpensively. We're going to try different platform combinations. We're going to do readings of things, but on camera, and we're going to do improv on Zoom, and we're going to do things that don't require a lot of props, just very, very basic, because the core of any great story is the interaction between the people, is what triggers who and why and where and when, and how it gets resolved, and the element of surprise. And all of that can be done very easily. And as I'm gradually building my arsenal of talented, fabulous, wonderful people who are excited by this, things happen that make me say, oh, I need to add that to the list. Things happen. And they give me bright ideas. Morning, Garen, if you're watching. And one of the things that occurred to me when I was watching John was the power of our car, the power of our alternative energy sources, the power of off-the-grid production that we really haven't explored, that we can use different technologies that are available to us already from way back when to reinvent and repurpose something new and different that makes everyone involved feel a pride of ownership. Isn't that a cool thing? I think it has incredible potential. And the show that I had in mind was very silly, and it still is, and I love it to death, and I want it to be my flagship. And then Pivotry happened, and as I said in my last video, our ability to reset, our ability to profile what is happening to us and profile our previous solutions is extraordinary. There are no animals that are that sophisticated. There are animals that can do a lot of very clever and integrated, complicated solution modeling. You know, their crows can sort things out and remember people, elephants, all different species of apes and gorillas and chimps and all that kind of stuff. You know, we know that horses and dogs and cats and fish remember things and come back, and this goes beyond, you know, scratch, roll over, hunt, kill, sleep, mate, repeat. This is much more sophisticated, much more community driven than we ever originally thought. Even saying that, the complex life we have now with so many tribes and so many things we prioritize and schedule and make room for has caused us to bring out so many different facets of our personalities. And as I said before, they never go away. You can always get them back. I can bring back a favorite character by doing a voice or a mannerism or you know, if I do this, if I put this on and I say, "Hello, dear, are you wearing clean underwear?" I haven't taken leave of my senses. I'm channeling Valerie Prevert from You Can't Get on Television. Her voice, her mannerism, and her yellow rubber gloves. I can go there and use that in an instant. I can go to one of my books and look for a favorite passage and remember what triggered the first time I said it and said, and wrote it down, knowing I would want to use it again. I can remember the moment because I have this whole area in my brain where I can look that up. And I don't have to actually, you know, stop boiling eggs for lunch to go and look it up physically. The brain does it. It sifts and sorts and says, "Is that the one?" And I'm saying, no, it's the one with the pink thing. Oh, got it. That whole thing goes on without any kind of conscious thought. And I only know this, and I want to keep saying this because I want to make sure people don't say, "Well, that's her, must be nice." The only reason I know I do this is because it dawned on me one day that this is what I do as an actor. It's what I do as a writer. It's what I do when I'm trying to sit down and figure out what the hell my client thought they were doing when they made that decision. How's that working for you? I see. come this way. No, seriously. And I thought, oh, look at that. I'm channeling. Who am I channeling? And I thought, well, everybody does that. And then I realized, yeah, they do, but they don't know it. And if they don't know it, that means they can't practice it. And they can't consciously go back and get the right person for the job. Oh. What if I told them? What if I showed them? What if I proved it? Imagine how many more stories they would have. Imagine how many more aha moments they would have. Imagine how much more creative content we would have. Imagine how big Story Me TV could become. See, I'm not just doing it for you. I'm doing it for us. So I want to offer you a little challenge. It's not a big thing. A little challenge. If you drew 10 circles, small circles, and under each one of them, and a little smiley, and because they're all you, right? And under each smiley, identify a tribe you belong to. Under each one. So it's you as a member of that tribe, right? So I can give you a start, for instance. You're a child, all grown up, but still a child. You're someone's child, which means that you have parents, and you may have siblings. So there's your immediate family. That's one tribe. You can draw a bunch of little circles around that if you like for the extended family, for the parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins and whatnot who live in this country or another country. You can do that if you like, but mostly just family. Okay, so that's one. And inside that family, as I said, there's parents and there's extended family and there's siblings. So you have a slightly different personality that you bring to your conversations with each of those people. So just below that first circle, how many people are in that tribe? Immediate. Don't go, I have 75 extended cousins. Don't do that. Just, are there 5 or 10? Write that down. Because that means that if there's 5 or 10, then there's 5 or 10 different versions of you that you call up when it's necessary, right? Next circle. You either have a job, or you go to school, or you're a volunteer of some kind, right? Okay. Write that down. Call it your work. How many people in your immediate connection are there? Okay. You live in a community. Do you belong to any groups? Are you on the homeowners association? Are you a gardener, and do you excuse me, I cough because clearly I'm not a gardener. My brain's knock that out of your head. So for each of these circles, so there's you, your family, there's your neighborhood and your work. There's your pastimes, your hobbies, things you love to do. And there's places you like to shop. There's routines you like to follow. And so each one is a circle. And then your friends. Let's say your immediate 10 friends. Write that down. Okay, 10 groups. Add up the number of people in each group that you interact with, let's say, on a daily basis, or at least 2 or 3 times a week basis. Right? Add up all those versions of you. Now then, if you pause and think about one version of you, the version of you that deals with the bossy person at the volunteer committee. Think of a moment with that person, call it back, and think of you and your attitude. Do you ever give yourself a name for when you're doing that? Try it. For each and every one of these versions of you, give them a name. Doesn't matter. Give them a color, give them a shape, give them a size, give them a number. It doesn't matter. But name them in some way. And the reason I want you to do this is because while you're doing this, and you can remember, you have to pause while you're thinking about each one, think of an occasion when you had a conversation and how you behaved differently from the previous or the next. It's really going to blow you away. It's incredible. I used to do this as an exercise for my business clients, and I'm going to include it in the workbook that I'm going to create for people who want to up their pivoter game. So we have the collection is just going to be amazing. So eventually you'll get this thing written down. But in the meantime, just as a thing to do, to try, is how many you can you think of easily just by looking at the 10 tribes, and how many people you interact with inside those 10 tribes, and give yourself a name. Because this is something you can now use to own any awkward, difficult moment. So I have two that I want to share that I have heard myself do. And they happen so quickly that I'm well into it before I realize I've done it. And what I used to do, not so much because I don't mingle with as many unhelpful people as I used to. I used to channel Mom a lot. Not my mom, Valerie Prevert. People wouldn't know. But the more annoying a person was, the more Valerie I became. and non-comprehending Valerie at that. So I moved out to the farm, thinking that was a good idea. Now there's a thing where we should have had a plan B. I was working away on something, and there was a knock on the door. I'm in the country. You look at every window, all you see in the distance are farmhouses. Knock on the door, dum dum. So I went to the door, and thinking to myself, open the door. And there are 4 women standing there, all smiling. 2 of them have baby carriages. And I said the word that is the wrong word in that moment because it implies interest. I do it automatically, and I haven't been able to train myself to stop. Open the door, and there's this incomprehensible collection, and I say, yes. What I should say is, oh, no, and close the door. It would just shortcut things so much. But no. Yes. And the spokeswoman for the group said, hi, we're your neighbors. And I said, oh, hello. See? And she said, yes, we always get together for coffee. And I said, oh. And I did that little shrug thing. And she said, and so we thought it would be fun to just come and say hi to the new neighbor. And I said, well, hi, neighbor. And then I just stood there because intelligent me said, don't offer anything. Say nothing. Just stand there. See what they do. And then just answer them. Do nothing. So I listened. I don't normally listen. I listened. So I stood there. I still have my hand on the door now. I'm smiling and she's smiling. So one of the other women says, so we were thinking, maybe we could have coffee. And another one said, yes. because it's, coffee break. And I said, oh, well, gosh, you didn't need my permission. Go ahead. And they realized that something had gone off the rails, and the woman in front, who I think probably got a jab in the middle of the back, said, well, we thought perhaps we'd just love to see what you're doing with the house. And so and I said, with what house? I almost said, dear. With what house, dear? With what house? And one of the other women said, this one. You just moved in. And I said, that's right, I did. And finally, someone said, we'd like to have coffee with you here. And then they all looked a little like that was a bit forward. And I said, oh, I'm so terribly sorry. I just had coffee. Thank you so much, though, for the invitation. Bye-bye. And I closed the door. I have no idea what the entire community thought of me after that, but it was a farming community, and I'm sure the word spread fairly quickly. My plan B was on autopilot. My plan B was just say, no, please, God, no, I don't want to stop and spend the day with people in my house I don't even know. I'm a high-functioning introvert, and today I'm at the low-functioning introvert end of it. I'm working. And so I did come up with a plan B. I outfoxed them. I outwitted them. But I didn't let them see me doing it because I channeled the most non-threatening version of me that I know. Now, you're not going to channel Mom. Oh, there was a situation in which I was worried that there was a rabid animal, a little, I don't know, groundhog or something, behaving very, very erratically. And at that point, I had achieved a dog, and I was worried that something bad could happen. So I called the farmer who lived across the road. He was born in his farm, and I'm sure his parents were born in the farm as well. And I called him and I said, I have a problem. I don't know. I think I might have a rabid animal. Is there any chance you have time you could come over and check? So he had cows and he had crops and whatnot. He's a busy man. And he said, no, absolutely, give me half an hour. And he pulled up in his pickup truck. And he got out and he had a long-handled shovel. And I had no idea why I had a long-handled shovel. And he said, where is it? And I said, well, I think it's under the barbecue. I had a barbecue on wheels, and it was a very small barbecue, so I could move it, And he said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to hold on to the handle. And I said, okay. He said, you're sure it's under there? And I said, well, it was a while ago. He said, hang on a second. He took a look, and he said, yeah, there's something under there. So he said, okay, 1, 2, 3. And I pulled it. And when I looked, I pulled it, and then I looked at him, and he had the shovel in the air, and he went, whap, and smushed the animal. And I said, oh my God. And he looked at me and he said, what's wrong? He said, well, he said, look, what do you expect me to do? Take it to a clinic? If it's rabid, it's rabid. You get rid of them. They're contagious. And I'm holding the handles, and I said, right, yeah. And in that 1 second, I pulled out the version of me that lived in Brooklyn when the bikers fixed my car after someone had tried to break into it. They said, you don't have to worry, we know who it was. It was the local guy, he's a junkie. You don't have to worry. Why? What did you do? Thinking they had called the police. He said, it's very simple. We broke both his arms at the elbows. What? How? And he said, it's very simple. You take a short length of pipe, you put it behind the arm, and I said, no, I don't want to know how. I want to know how. And he stopped and he said, are you listening to you? And so all of a sudden, Albert, my neighbor, was explaining to me, and I'm standing there, and I said, yes, but how? And I stopped myself, and he said, how could I do it? Is that what you were going to say? How? Why do you think I brought the shovel? I don't know. He said, first you kill it, then you bury it. Got a blank spot of land? I had 15 acres. Oh, ha, ha. And I said, sure, take your pick. All right. And he found a spot and dug the hole, dropped the deceased animal in, filled it up, said, stopped at one point and he said, you know, times like this, I'm reminded how much I like a nice fresh elderberry pie. Non sequiturs are us. I said, well, I'm sure that sounds delicious. He said, one of these days I'm going to take you elderberry picking. Oh, I don't really cook, is what I was going to say, and then I realized this was the ransom. And I said, gotcha. So I jettisoned Mom, and I jettisoned the girl in New York, and I jettisoned any others that might have come to mind, trying to be smart. And I said, gotcha, I'm on it. And he said, I knew you would be. So I can clearly remember this feeling that these different parts of me stepped up to continue the conversation with him. I could feel it. I could feel my energy and my tone and my attitude changing. And the reason I tell these two stories today is because this past weekend, everybody had other plans for Saturday night in my part of the world. A friend of mine, a musician, said, shortest show in the history of entertainment. Sound check and good night. That's all he had time for before the storm came. And everybody ran for cover and hid. And the destruction was so thorough, there was no way he was going to do a show when the rain stopped. So we have to be flexible. We have to adjust, as Melissa said. I grew up on a farm. She knew what I was going to say about the animal. Fine, and where were you when I was on the farm? And we have all these things happening to us that we're not equipped for, we weren't trained for. We had no idea how to survive because it had never been in our immediate experience. Our parents, our grandparents, you can look back through your lives and very few of us have been tasked with being resourceful in that way. So what can we do? We can learn to get really good at this natural superpower we have. We can learn to get really good at pivotry because this is what celebrates us and saves us and carries us forward when things are really terrible. We can put down and set aside the person focused on this in life or that in life, and we can say to our friends, I'm going to have to catch you next time, I have this. And we can draw on all this skill that we don't even know we have for a couple of reasons. One of them is obvious. one of them is because it makes us feel proud of ourselves, that we're capable, that we're capable. We can do this. And the other is, it makes us feel taller, worthy, valued, strong, needed, and part of something. We've lost that. A lot of us have lost the feeling that that is still around us. We've seen some bad behavior. We've seen some selfish things, scary things. Now is when we need to say, oh, I remember that me. Or him, or them. We all already know how to do this. I'm just the navigator. I'm the teller of stories, the maker of laughs and smiles. The reason people say, you know, if it was that much fun the last time, what are the odds? And they give me a chance to make them smile again. That's why I'm doing this. That's why we're here. Do you like that? For everyone who, everywhere, who is battling their own raging storm, this is also for you. Because when we feel we have no resource, it's a very sad, lonely, unhappy place. And we do have resources. They are there. We just have to remember where we put them and practice getting them back. So this was Area 51. Thursday it'll be Area 52. I'm so excited about this. Somebody, one of our participants said, wow, you're going to have enough for a series soon. And I said, well, maybe I am. Maybe I just am. So, between now and Thursday, remember your homework. Get that piece of paper. It's fun. It's really crazy. Get that piece of paper. You're going to draw 10 circles. You're going to put a little smiley face in each one because they're all you. And you're going to name each circle. Each circle is a tribe. It's your family. It's your neighbors. It's your work. It's your hobby. It's whatever. 10 of them. And then think about the people you're in immediate contact with in each one of those circles and write that number down. You don't talk to your baby sister or brother the way you talk to the man who picks up the garbage. You don't talk to your annoying cousin the way you talk to that cute new kid in school. Right? Right. It's really fun. I'll check in, and I hope I get comments. In the meantime, between now and then, I keep forgetting to do this, and I need to write it down. Please share that these videos are happening. Tell your friends that Abby is on a new thing. She's already got 51, and they're really cool. You can find them on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, and you can find them on my YouTube channel. And do that as soon as you can, as soon as this is over, and I will post again when I load this up on my other Facebook page. I will post again the link to the YouTube channel, okay? And let's see if we can grow some numbers. This is very exciting. 50 shows done, this being 51. Let's see how long it takes me to get 100 YouTube subscribers. It's up to you. Okay? All right. Till Thursday, be well. Be good to all of your various yous, because every single one of you is worth it. And remember to hug your loved ones. See you next time.